Thank you for staying with us. Now, to speak to us on the tax reform bills and also the new tax regime, we have Martins Arogi, partner ENR Tax Group and head payroll services, KPMG Nigeria, to speak more on this. Thank you so much, Martins, for joining us on the news.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's a pleasure. Now, as a partner in KPMG's tax group, how confident are you that these tax reform bills will bring meaningful transformation to Nigeria's tax administration framework?
I think the jury is still out as to what the impact would be. I hear people speak about the pros and the cons, some good, some not so good, depending on which side of the divide you are on. But from an administrative point of view, I think it's important for investors that they have some clarity as to what to expect when they come into a country. I think the passage of this and in very short time compared to other landmark legislation that we've seen in the past, such as the Petroleum Industry Act, would bring a bit of clarity, would aid administration, and would also, in a sense, improve investor confidence, because at least you know what you expect, and that's a big plus.
Okay. Martins, from a policy and implementation standpoint as well, do you believe that the reforms will effectively boost government revenue while also addressing issues like financial burden, inconsistency, and exploitation in the system?
Now, this is where I think that we've spoken a lot, but there's very little data to support the positions that you see out there. In a place like the United Kingdom, you have what's called the Office for Budget Responsibility. In America, you would have the Congressional Budgetary Office. And these are primarily independent bodies that tend to try to cost government policy and say, if you introduce this is the impact it will have, both from a perspective of being able to increase revenue and also cost. But we haven't done that. A lot of these things are up in the air. Would it improve government's revenue? Yes, there are aspects of it that I think would lead to increased government revenue, but there are also aspects of it that I think would lead to reduce government revenue. We talked about VAT, for example. Now, there was a lot of back and forth around VAT and the sharing formula, but there were other things around VAT that this law is also changing that didn't even make the forefront of the conversation. The first one is we've never had a real VAT system in Nigeria. What we've always had is a modified sales tax system. Now, we've introduced what I would call a real VAT system, where you have the opportunity to offset your input from your outputs. So the question is, would that lead to increase or reduce VAT collection? Remember, in the initial proposals, the VAT rates were supposed to go up, which may have offset the fact that we now have the ability to offset our input. But the rates didn't go up at the end of the day. The National Assembly chose in their wisdom to retain the rates. So it's unclear whether we would have increased or reduced VAT collection. And that's a significant source of government revenue. The company's income tax rate was supposed to also go down, but that's remained unchanged. So again, the jury is out, but until all of these things are properly costed, one of the things you will begin to struggle with are conjectures. I'll give you another instance. We've changed significantly tax incentive framework in Nigeria, both for the one we used to call the pioneer status, which was a tax holiday, and also what we used to call what we still have as the free zone incentives. Now, I hear people say, oh, tax is not always the major driver for investors. But the truth is, that's not totally correct. If you have all factors of production that are constant across various jurisdictions, then tax becomes a deciding factor. There is a reason why large digital companies at some point decided to set up shop in Ireland. It's primarily tax. There's a reason why OECD, for a number of years, have been fixated on the base erosion profit shifting initiative, because tax is critical to investment decisions. It may not be the primary driver, it may not be the only driver, But those changes that we've made to our tax incentive framework, the jury is out as to whether it would impact our ability to attract FDIs and therefore, in the long run, government's revenue. So again, a lot of these things are conjecture because we haven't properly costed some of these changes.
All right, so what about when it comes to, ensuring uniform interpretation across tax authorities and also taxpayers? What safeguards should be implemented then?
Uniform interpretation is an Eldorado that you would never accomplish. If you had uniform interpretation, then there will be no need for a dispute resolution system. We probably would then have to shut down the courts. But I think that there are certain things that we've introduced here, the ombudsman, which we didn't have in the past. All of these things would aid improved dispute resolution system. So I don't think you would ever have uniform interpretation. I think what we should be aiming for is a fast and an efficient dispute resolution system, so that when taxpayers and tax authorities disagree on interpretation of the law, of the tax laws, they are able to get certainty on who is correct or who has the greater probability of being correct, because it's civil matter anyway. So yes, and I think that the introduction of the ombudsman would probably aid that significantly.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Martins, for your time and for speaking to us on this.